Ladies and gentlemen, the United States is covered in ice, and Monroe County has declared a state of emergency. That's why I took the PUMA Deviate Nitro Elite 4 out for a 20-mile long run.
20 miles, 850 pace. That was one of the most physically demanding runs of my entire life.
Deviate from the standard, nitroglycerin damaged, elite runner unhampered, PUMA pounds like a savage. Deviate from the standard, nitroglycerin damaged, elite runner unhampered, PUMA pounds like a savage.
Okay, so first stepping into the PUMA Deviate Nitro Elite 4, it's two big observations and then some little observations. The first two big ones is just how light it feels on foot. Obviously, it's a marathon racing shoe. I've been putting a lot of very light shoes on my feet lately. For whatever reason, this one feels just lighter than those. And I mean like lighter than the Xiaonian, lighter than the Edge Tokyo, like proper light. A second big observation is walking around in this feels pretty firm, which I'm excited about. I like a firm foam and a firm racing shoe particularly. That's why the Metaspeed Edge Paris was such an excellent second marathon shoe for me. The firmness really works in those faster settings for me. So the little observations is it's definitely big. I did get it in a 10 because I didn't have an opportunity to try it on in a store first. They had to order it for me. And so I think that maybe I could have gone a 9.5 in this, but that's a risk for me. Like most of my shoes historically have been a 9.5, but I recently found that I do better in a 10 for most things. And so that's why I was trying to play it safe by ordering this in a 10. And I think it'll still be fine. I don't think that it's like too big, but it's definitely on the roomy side of all of the 10s that I've tried so far. So that's one thing that I noticed. I did have to crank the laces down a bit to feel like I have a secure heel lock, and I probably will end up adjusting that on the road. Hopefully not too much because it is cold outside. It's like 9 maybe, and we are currently in a state of emergency. I think it was Adam Bello, whoever that is, county guy or whatever, somebody declared in Monroe County a state of emergency, which really just means that they have better access to roads for plowing and like clearing out traffic and whatever. But yeah, for those of you in the US that are somehow not aware of the weather that we're experiencing, or if you're outside of the US, yeah, there's a big ice storm rolling in, but luckily in Rochester and the northern part of the country, it's not going to be particularly ice. It's going to be mostly snow. Probably there will be some ice involved as well. It looks like the storm is holding off until around noon, so if I get out by 8:30, which is what I'm targeting, I'll be able to avoid the snow, or like the heaviest part of the snow. It's probably going to snow a little bit while I'm out there. But what I won't do to test a new shoe, like I could be on a treadmill, I could go to the gym, I could be on a treadmill right now. But again, like, I don't know, I don't want to run 20 on a freaking treadmill. That sounds miserable. I've done it before. I don't really intend to do it again anytime soon, unless the weather somehow is worse than this. And what a better way to do a 20 than an out-of-the-box brand new racing shoe, which I've been very excited for. So that's the state of affairs right now. I'm going to finish bundling, and I'll see you outside.
Do not stray.
there are various areas of literature that are typified by person versus X, so person versus nature, person versus self, person versus machine, person versus author, person versus God, and all of these compile into the meta of literature as we know it, plus other stuff as well. Today, it is person versus nature all day. Immediately starting out, conditions on the road were much worse than I thought they would be. Although I found the sidewalk is the most plowed that it's been so far, but it's not exactly plowed either. I will give you thoughts on the shoes eventually. I want to get some clean road to give you thoughts. All of the snow that's snowing right now is like little ice needles that are going into my eye, and they melt upon contact and they drip onto my eyelashes, and then I blink and my eyelashes freeze together.
Take your dedication with dynamic deviations. Show the other racers, deliberately detonate them. Decompose their double layers of PUMA and deflate them. Deviate is 7 steps from dominating the entire nation. Demonstrate your dedication with dynamic deviations. Show the other racers, deliberately detonate them. Decompose their double layers of PUMA and deflate them. Deviate is 7 steps from dominating the entire nation.
It's been very hard to give commentary throughout this run so far, but I'm at close to 6, and the Deviate Nitro Elite 4 was nothing short of incredible. Of course, there's been a lot of snow underneath me, but I could somehow still feel the bounce, and those strides I took through that tunnel were exactly the type of bounce I want in a race shoe. Short duration, quick expansion, extremely explosive, firm, superb bounce. I really want to go fast in them, but that would result in falling down, no matter how grippy these are. And I wouldn't say they're like top of the line grip, but they're definitely better than most. Okay, here comes the wind again.
Deviate from the standard. Nitroglycerin damaged. Elite runner unhampered. Pull up pounds like a savage. Deviate from the standard. Nitroglycerin damaged. Elite runner unhampered. Pull up pounds like a savage. Deviate from the standard. Nitroglycerin damaged. Elite runner unhampered. Pull up pounds like a savage. Deviate from the standard. Nitroglycerin damaged. Elite runner unhampered. I'll pull up pounds like a savage. Deviate from the standard. Nitroglycerin damaged. Elite runner unhampered. Pull up pounds like a savage.
For me, in a lot of ways, conditions like this simulate a race because I am very locked in and I'm just fighting against something, and you get tunnel vision. I can also barely see right now, and that often happens to me in races where I'm just so focused on the goal at hand that I can't really see. And it's like, this is such a time warp, and everything's all white, and like, yeah, I'm in like this foreign land, or a foreign state of mind to the land. It's very interesting, it's very trancy. This is an intense run. I'm going so slow too. Been hanging in the mid-8s. It feels like it too. It doesn't feel like I'm working that hard. It's just, I can't move quicker because I'll fall down. And that's not a deviate grip issue. It's a, look at the, I mean, you see the world as it stands. I understand why it's a state of emergency. It's because they just decided not to plow. The compression of this foam almost feels like if you put a memory foam pillow in a really cold environment and then like took one stride across the entire thing. That's what the compression feels like. The decompression feels like that in reverse, where it's not like you're sinking into the shoe at all. It's still like firm, but you could tell that there's some like, like, what is that called? The foam that's viscoelasticity to the foam. It's a really nice feeling foam. I really expected there to be more plowed roads than this. So I'm heading to the U of R. I was hoping to avoid it because I run there all the time, but they're almost guaranteed to have a plowed road or two, at least the parking lots. I'm not the first runner to run through here. We got a strong 4-foot striker who appears to be in some sort of trail shoe. Investigative journalists, what is that shoe? I got some next level draft and action going on. They're finally plowing. At mile nearly 16, they are plowing. 20 miles, 8:50 pace. That was one of the most physically demanding runs of my entire life. I'm obviously a popsicle. My legs are giving out. It's like each step. Yeah, the camera died from simply being cold. It's not out of batteries or anything. I could barely move my mouth, so if it sounds weird how I'm talking right now, it's because my mouth is frozen. That was an ice that fell off of me that clicked on the ground. So that was intense, man. That was, And we're back in the studio with the PUMA Deviate Nitro Elite 4. And oh my god, that was quite the run. It was honestly pretty much terrible from start to finish, but nothing to do with the shoe, just simply the fact that I was running on slush and nobody plowed. It was towards the final 4 miles of the run that only the U of R began the arduous task of removing all of the snow that had accumulated overnight, because the majority of it we're actually getting sort of right now, what's going on out there, and into tonight. But yeah, it's a state of emergency, and I can see why. It's pretty intense. This is very winter, very weather, and
I didn't want to take the Deviate Nitro Elite on a treadmill to test it for my first run because that just wouldn't be like a proper first run. So I ended up taking it on inches of slush instead. And honestly, that's putting any shoe through the ringer. Like any road shoe, that is an incredibly challenging test to put it through. And this survived and thrived. So I want to talk to you a bit about the shoe, and then we could get into how the ride went. So, but first, let's talk about the specs and materials. All right, first, let's talk about the weight. I got 183 grams on one foot and 184 on the other foot for a men's size 10. It costs $250 in the United States. It is 40 in the heel, 32 in the forefoot for an 8mm drop. Those are the specs. The materials, this is a very loose mesh. It's called Ultra Weave. It's very breathable, but some of the shoes that I have that are very breathable in the winter can be very cold. I'm talking specifically about the Antasea 2027 and the Doan PB Pro. I am freezing whenever I wear those shoes in weather like this, and somehow this wasn't freezing overtly. I mean, it was a little cold because it's a race fitting upper, but it wasn't the coldest that I've ever experienced. This is going to be fine in the summer for breathability. It takes a lot for a shoe not to be very breathable these days, and this is well crafted for that, and it's comfortable too. It's a really comfortable upper. I'll talk more about that in the fit section. You got, of course, the serrated laces, which everybody likes to see. These are definitely thinner and less stiff serrated laces, which is the type that I personally like, although there are some that are even more clothy than this, which the ones, if you've ever held the Rocket X3 from Hoka, those might be my favorite serrated laces just by texture, but these worked really well. These are pretty much perfect for what you would want for race day. The tongue is towards the bottom of the tongue, similar material to what you would find in the Metaspeed shoes, except a little bit thicker. And then it has these bumper pads on either side of the tongue. It's a tongue. It's not anything special. It's definitely not thick, but it's definitely not the thinnest race day tongue that I've ever seen. That's basically it. I mean, the heel counter is floopy, but not the most floopy. Actually, one thing that I did notice on this is more fit related, but I've never felt my heel, the back of my heel, so cradled shape-wise. They've done an excellent job designing the shape of this heel cup. It was remarkable upon step-in. So, I mean, it's not the most important thing to, frankly, anybody, but it was nice. It felt really nice to me. Oh, and of course, there's a carbon fiber plate in here. And the foam, the material in the foam, as far as I can tell, is an ATPU. I couldn't find a whole lot of information on this, but that's what a couple sources have said. So, and it feels like it too. When we'll get to that in the ride section. Okay, now let's go to fit. The fit was interesting on this. When I first stepped into it, it felt long. I mean, it definitely, I'm doing all of my shoes in a size 10 now, where I previously did in a size 9.5. So I'm encountering some longness in certain shoes. This was one of them. And it also felt really spacious. But then when I cinched down the laces, it fit perfectly. And there's a lot of cinch down that you could get without it feeling too tight in this. And I'm not exactly sure if that's by design, but it felt like, at first it felt like I was cranking the laces too much. And I was worried that what happens often to me in those situations is that I'll start to have some foot numbness when I've tightened the laces too much. And I was like, I'm sure when I get out on the road, because I was still inside because it's freezing outside, I was like, I'm sure when I get out on the road, I'm going to have to take my gloves off and retie these, and I'm going to be mad about it. And I did not retie these at all while I was out on the road, and I didn't feel like I needed to. They were not too tight, which tells me that it probably was by design that they left the like eyelet chain so wide open, and there's just room to tighten it a bunch. But I was certainly concerned about that at first. Don't get it wrong. So if you have that when you're lacing these up, if you do end up picking these up, like don't worry about it. You could crank the laces on these. Also, yeah, fit-wise, like I said, with the heel, that was really comfortable. I didn't have any heel slip or anything like that. I mean, again, it was cranked pretty tightly, and so these didn't slide around, nothing weird. Like, it's always an amazing sign when you could take a brand new shoe out of the box, run 20 miles in a state of emergency snowstorm, and not be able to report any fit issues at all. So, fit, bang, done. On to the ride. So the ride was wild, and there's a lot to say about it, and there's a lot that I have to put a little bit of an asterisk on. All of the roads were covered in snow. They had not started plowing from last night yet, like literally nowhere. It was only towards the end of the run that the people at the U of R had kicked into gear and started plowing, but their plowing actually made it harder to run on what they were plowing because the salt that they put down was melting the snow, creating slush, making it slipperier to run on the parts that they plowed. So I didn't get much clean road at all. So there's your big old asterisk for this review, is that, you know, it was better than, I got a better read on the shoe than I would have if I had taken it on a treadmill, but out of 20 miles of running on snow, I got maybe a half mile total of running on unfettered roads. But where I was on unfettered roads, this is explosively bouncy, like really properly good bounce. And I had this thought on the run, like the most comparable type of bounce that I could describe it as was, you know, like you have a memory foam pillow and it's really cold in your room, and then your head sinks into it. That's the downward actuation. I explained this out on the run, so if you watched the on the run section, I'm grateful to you all. I'm trying to rehash that here for everybody that skipped ahead. So it was like, so like when your head goes into a memory foam pillow on the downward, but think about like how much force it takes to compress the memory foam pillow coming instead of just sinking in. Imagine that force pushing you back out of it. It feels very like firm, right? It's a very firm, like a frozen memory foam pillow is very firm. That's what the foam feels like. But it feels like when you decompress that, the amount of decompression you're getting is coming also back out in a very linear way, which is the way that I feel about another ATPU shoe that I have, the A6 Mega Blast. I feel maybe not those specific analogous like descriptors, not memory foam for the Mega Blast, but the thing that remains consistent between the two foams is the linear actuation. It feels like all of the energy that's going in comes out in the same amount and with the same velocity. So it's like in, out, right? I don't know if that's going to come through, if that's even intelligible at all, but if anybody could feel what I'm talking about who's running ATPU foams, that's really what I get out of them. Whereas like a PIBA, I often describe as running on a hollow door, or if it's a squishier PIBA, it's like a very highly energetic, like full compression and then maybe like a logarithmic outwards where it's like more propulsive on the way out than when on the way in. But it's like for ATPUs, a more shallow actuation. Since this feels dense, it feels like substantial and dense. So when it goes in, you're compressing the foam. For me, it feels like I'm compressing the foam less coming down, but all of that which I'm compressing downwards is then returned to me coming out in the same velocity as when I'm striking the ground. So just incredible. I really like this foam just from the beginning, and there will be so many more miles put on this. Like, I hesitate to call it so early because it was such a chaotic, blizzardy run, but I could see this rivaling my Metaspeed shoe. So another ATPU foam, talking about foams, the Edge Tokyo, the FF Leap in that, totally different compound to this. That is so soft and squishy. Doesn't feel like I could see where it is still an ATPU. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the same exact linear actuation, but it has a similar underfoot feel in a way that I can't really describe necessarily right now because I haven't run in the Tokyo since my race. But uh, this doesn't feel anything like the top layer of the edge or the bottom layer of the sky. It's not as soft for sure. It's not as wibbly either. What I'm trying to get at here, what I'm trying to express to you all, is this might pretty handily overtake the Metaspeeds as a new race shoe for me. It's rare that I could say something like that so quickly about a shoe, but a lot of what I was concerned about with Adios Pro 4, which I still think is an incredible shoe, is that cornering capability and grip just weren't there for me in the Adios Pro 4. And I do need more testing on that, right? It's not super high mileage yet, and I'm still excited to get more testing on that, but out of the box, in some of the worst conditions known to runner, this was fine in all of the snow and all of the slush and all of the what I just put up with for 20 miles. It was a miserable weather day. And I took a brand new super shoe for 20 miles out of the box in a blizzard in a state of emergency. If that doesn't like trauma bond you to a shoe, I don't know what will. So I already have connected with this in a big way. Like truly a big way. It really felt great. And so sometimes what was happening is there would be a patch of slush that had fully melted away and had some of the salt on it still. And so I would get like a fully planted couple of strides that just electrified me out of those strides. So I'm running in all of this slush with a relatively dampened footfall. It's not super exciting to run in snow. It's like running on a beach, except you're cold and potentially dying at 16 miles out of 20. And then suddenly your foot catches on the ground and it's kaboom, and you're just off. I also did a couple of strides that you'll see on your screen inside of this tunnel, sort of in the High Falls neighborhood, right after some of the coldest portion of this run, early in the morning when it was 9 degrees. And I did a couple strides back and forth through there to get a feel for it. And oh my God, yeah, that was just what really tells me how super of a shoe this is. And of course, a lot of super shoes are super bouncy. I'm not going to say that like the Adios Pro 4 is any less bouncy than this. It's definitely differently bouncy. It's way softer than this is. I wouldn't say that this is like crazy firm. I don't think it's like Adios Pro 3 firm, but it's definitely firmer than the Adios Pro 4 and firmer than the top layer of the Edge Tokyo. And it smells good too. It has that PIBA glue. It's not PIBA, it's actually just glue, but it was associated early on with a lot of shoes that were using PIBA. So at first I thought it was PIBA that smelled like that, but I'm pretty sure it's just the glue. But yeah, oh my God, it smells so good. Yeah, so Deviate Nitro Elite 4, trying to think of what else I missed in this beautiful, beautiful shoe. I don't know how it didn't get dirty. I mean, it was slush central out there, and normally shoes get extremely dirty in those situations. I'm grateful that it didn't. I probably will get some treadmill miles on this throughout the week to see how it shapes up on that. I don't think that this outsole is going to be quite as grippy as something like the Mag Max, and it comes down to the thin application of rubber here. And also, I mean, no concerns as of right now, but I do think there might be a little bit of durability concerns long term, especially if you're a heel striker, because if you look at this, that's just a ground contact foam. Like that's like painted foam right on the medial heel. And this is this is not thin for rubber for a race day shoe, but it is thin overall. And same with the amount of rubber that you're getting up top. Yeah, this is also super rigid, like a very rigid shoe, which I clearly get along with. I like a rigid shoe right now, and where I'm at, of course, could change long term, but yeah, that really works for me. Yeah, no issues with the upper. I was really surprised about that. I know I covered this in the fit section, but I was definitely concerned when I was lacing this up with how tight I had to tie it. but I'm guessing that must just be by design. Yeah, I need to get some wicked fast workouts in this. I want to get some probably mile repeats. I was thinking about some mile repeat workouts that I would like to do once the track opens up again, once the winter comes to a conclusion. Yeah, this was a wild run. I'm grateful that I did it. I'm glad that it's over. And this is instantly to the top of my like high level of shoe. Very, that was a bad sentence. This has instantly risen for me for hype just to the top of the top. Like put this right next to, I know I was talking about this yesterday in my video of my top 5 most exciting shoes right now. This is right up there with the Anta C2027. I'm going to be reaching for this a lot. This is going to be up there again also with the Adios Pro 4 because this is more the type of shoe that it is. But yeah, this is crazy, crazy good. It feels great underfoot. As it should. I mean, it's, you know, I didn't run in the previous version, but it got very positive reviews. And basically, from what I understand from the last version, this lost weight and otherwise not much changed. So that's always a good sign in a shoe, is if you've perfected the design so well that your only, you know, target for the next model is to make it lose weight. Fantastic. I think that all shoes that get positive reviews from the community should try to just do that next time. Like, don't, you know, tinker with anything else. Just make your shoes lighter, because that's really the thing that's going to benefit runners the most in the long run, with if you're not making any sacrifices in the rest of the shoe. Like if you're not compromising the shoe at the expense of the lightness, and you're keeping everything else mostly the same, and you're maybe you're tweaking the foam a little bit or more strategically applying cutouts, and that's where you're getting your lightness from. The direction, what I'm trying to say in the Deviate, is that the direction that they decided to go with their update on this, and granted, again, I did not run in the previous version, but from what everybody said, like, good positive reviews on the previous version, and Puma was like, okay, let's make it lighter. Yeah, that's how you know the designers and the engineers behind the shoe are really attentive and in tune with what the community is looking for. At least that's my opinion. Like, that's awesome. That's a great decision. More companies should make their shoes lighter, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it happen, right? That is the direction that the running shoe market is gradually inching towards, is becoming lighter. And this is a great example. I'm so excited about this shoe. Such a good run. Such a bad run, too. So torturous. Maybe, like, plow the roads. I know they're probably waiting for the snow to actually happen. Like, it's happening now. I'm watching it out the window. It's way worse than when I was out there earlier. But, like, I feel grateful to be in a warm house with a great shoe, and to be able to share such great tales of woe and regale the laurels of long runs to you all from the comfort of my toasty home. So with that, I thank you all very much for your attention, and as always, stay in motion.